Very good evening, all of you. Hope you all are doing well. Let's start with today's session. Quick recap of yesterday's session. Yesterday, we discussed about Geometry Manager. Geometry Manager responsible for placement of components within the main window. So, how your components will be placed within the main window, that Geometry Manager decides. And we saw three Geometry Managers. One Geometry Manager first was Pack. Second, we saw grid, and third, place. All three have their different algorithms, right? Now, today what we'll do is start learning each widgets one by one. There are so many UI components. Now, I cannot cover each and every one, but the common one and the standard one, which are commonly needed in making any GUI applications, that we will cover. So one by one, the widgets we will cover. Okay, widgets means visual elements, or you can say UI components, with the help of which you are going to create your front end, that is the UI, and user is going to interact with it. And whenever user does the interaction, event occur. And if you have written code to respond to that event, that code will get executed, the reaction code. If you have written the code for that event, then always whenever the event occur, that code gets automatically called. Okay, so how it will work, everything I'll tell you. First widget we are going to learn, that is button. Okay, so button widget, it is like a command button, you can say, on the click of which you get a press effect as if something has got pressed. And the moment you release your mouse button, it again becomes normal and it reacts to that press with some reaction logic. Correct? So button widget, it is a rectangular child window. Some label is there on it, whatever label. And whenever you click on it, a press effect you get. That widget is, you feel as if it is gone down. It is pressed. And when you release the mouse, it again becomes normal. Okay. And whenever you press it, event occurs. It's called as the click event. And if you have written some code to respond to that event, you have internally written some reaction logic, and you have told that when you're creating a OK button, that time you have mentioned that for click, please call this. It will not immediately call it. It will call only when on that button, the click will occur. But for click, you have written the code. You have also associated it. You have told that whenever click occurs, please call this. You have given a reference of this function. The reference of this function is given to some property. Getting? There is one property called command. To that, the reference is given. And now whenever you click on it, the event occur and this reaction code will get executed. Getting? So it is generally to respond to the event. Button is for that. Usually like on the screen, after entering something, you want to save. So there is a submit button, or you want to clear all the text boxes. So there is a reset button. Okay, or there is a close button. When you click on it, the application gets closed. So standard activities we do on the click of button. So the button widget in Tkinter is to create a clickable button. Clickable, why? Because when you click on it, it gets pressed. And when you release the mouse, it again becomes normal. And the moment you release the mouse, it becomes normal and the click event has occurred and it will react to that. Okay, so it creates a clickable button that performs a specific action when pressed. So the moment you press on the button, click event occur and the code which is you have written for that event will get executed. It will get called. So usually those functions are called as callback. We call them as callback. Why? Because we are not calling them explicitly. We don't call them explicitly. It is going to get called implicitly whenever the event occurs. And it's going to get called again and again as many times the event occur. So as many times the event occur, it will get called implicitly again and again. So such functions are called as callback functions. Callback functions means functions which are never called explicitly. They get called implicitly. And the functions which are going to get called again and again. Okay? So what those callback functions are, we'll see. See, that's what I'm mentioning. We can also associate a method or a function with a button. And when this function will get called, whenever on the button event occurs. Which event? You have pressed the button. The moment you press the button, click event occur, and the function which you have associated and kept for that event. You have written a function, in that you have written a reaction logic, and you have told that please call this function whenever on this button click occurs. So now it is not going to immediately call. While creating, you have just associated it that for this button's click, please call the function. Okay. Now, as many times the button is clicked, that function will get called implicitly again and again. Therefore, that functions are called as callback functions. Okay. So with a button which is called when the button is pressed. Now, how to do it, we will see. First, we'll see how to create that button widget. To create a button widget, there is a button class. Button is a class present in your Tkinter library. So tk.button. First important thing you have to pass, that is the parent, which we were passing yesterday, root. And root is the object of tk, and tk is the parent window. Object of class tk is always the parent window. Okay, so you're passing that parent window reference so that automatically the button is added in that parent. And then you have to pass some options. Options means they are the configurations of that button, like what should be the text on the button, then font of the button, then which function to be called when the button is clicked. Whenever I click on the button, then which function is to be executed. So you have to associate that function with that event. So that you'll do it with this option. Then foreground color, background color, so many options are there. All these are setting the configuration of your button. Okay, and once the button is created, you get the reference of that button. You can collect it. But please remember, only creating the button and adding it in the parent window doesn't work. You also have to set the geometry manager of that button by any way, pack method or place method or by grid method, but you have to set the placement, means you have to set the geometry manager. Otherwise, that button won't be visible in your parent window. Okay, now what all different options are there? That I'll tell you. One basic option, that is text. So whatever you give to the text will be seen as a label or a caption on the button. Like if I give text equal to double quote submit. So on the button, what will be the label? Submit. Okay. Then next is command. Now to the command, you have to give the function name, only function name. You have to just give the reference of your function, which can be a lambda function also, if you remember. Okay. If you remember lambda function, right? So that also you can give, because when you create a lambda function, you get a function object assigned. Or if you have defined any function already, like def foo, okay, and then in that you have written some reaction logic. So I'm just going to write command equal to foo. Don't write round bracket. Round bracket means foo will get called. We don't have to call. We are just giving the reference of that function. Your function reference you're assigning to command. So command equal to foo. So now it is not going to call. We have just set the reference. When it will call this function, as many times click event will occur on the button. So whenever click event will occur, it will give call to foo, execute the code. Again, whenever you click, it will give call to foo, execute the code. Therefore, it is called as callback. Callback functions is functions which are getting called implicitly. You don't call them explicitly. and they are getting called again and again. As many times the event occur, it will give call to it. Okay? So that important is command. It is function to execute when the button is clicked. So you have defined a function. In that you have written a reaction logic. You have defined a function. In this, the reaction logic is also written. Then when you create a button, there you will write command equal to name of the function. Done. The reference is given. Now, next thing is whenever you click on that button, that many times that function is called. Okay? Then the background color of that button, whatever that rectangular area is coming, you can give the background color. Color, you can give standard colors in double code, like red, blue, green, yellow, cyan, magenta, light blue, light green. Some standard are there. And if you don't want that, you can create your color combination by using RGB combination. Red, green, blue. So you can give red component, green component, blue component, and what three components you give, it will mix that three and create a new color. So that is also possible. Foreground color means the color of the text. Okay. Then you can even set the font of your button. So font, the font name, that font style, size of the font, all you can give. And then the width and the height. But this width and height of the button is not calculated in terms of pixels. Huh? It is not in terms of pixel. It is in terms of character width. Okay? It will take the width of the character and the highest width character in that font. Whatever font you have set, depending on what font you have set, that width will be decided. Like if you give width 10, it is going to take 10 character width, approximate. It won't be exact. But how much width it will take? As much is needed for 10 characters. Okay. But how much space one character will depend on the font. And it generally takes the widest character, the one which is taking maximum space in that character set. Like if the font, whatever you have given, W takes maximum, I takes less space, W takes more space. So widest character it will take multiplied by 10, how much it occupies, that much it gives. It is approximated and not exact. And height also is considered as one character height. Okay, so if you give height as 2, so it will take 2 character height that way. So character width and height is not calculated in terms of pixels. Width and height actually depends on what font you have given because it takes width in terms of character width and the character height. Okay, so these are some standard options. Few more are there that also I'll tell you. And remember, many of this which I'm telling for button are applicable for many other widgets also. Getting like if you go to checkbox, radio button, there also it is applicable. So it is not like these all are only applicable for button. Many of this like font, then width, height, foreground, background, these are applicable for checkbox also. They are applicable for label also. They are applicable for radio button also. Okay, so we will be learning that. But when we will learn those widget, not necessarily I'll tell you all. Main I'll tell you. But remember, many of the options of button are applicable to other widgets as well. See, few more are given. Like the initial state of the button. Okay, if you want to state the button disabled initially, you might have seen sometimes some buttons are disabled, and by doing some activity, it becomes unable. Like when you're saving any file, so you give the file name. Okay, in the save dialog, you might have seen you give the file name, and here there is a save button, cancel button. Initially, that save is disabled, and the moment you start typing your file name, it becomes enabled. Disabled button means it will not respond to the event. If you click on it, then also it is not going to get pressed. It will not get pressed. It will not respond to the event. because it is disabled. And when it is not disabled, it is normal. Okay. Then on the button, you can also display images. How to display images? I'll take a separate example on it. How to display any image on a button. I'll tell you, don't worry. Okay? So you can display an image as well. You have to give an image object. You have to create an image object and assign to it. And to that image object's constructor, you have to give the name of your PNG or SVG file name. Then the border style, like raised is there. So that button looks little bit, it has come up. It is coming up. Like you can see it is coming out of the screen that way. Shrunken means it is pressed from the border that way. Then how much border width you want? That border width you can give. Then spacing between one button and the another button, the horizontal and the vertical spacing. So if there are two vertical button, what should be the space? Horizontal button, what should be the space? So this is pad X, this is pad Y. Okay, so that you can give. Then active background, active foreground. So this is the color when the button is pressed. Means whenever you select that button, you click that button. So the button is active. So that time if you want different background color, you can give and foreground. So background color of the button when the mouse pointer is over it or when it is clicked. So when you bring the mouse over here and you press the button, so we say the button has become active. That time it will change its color. Which color? The background color. And if you want to change the text color also to give active foreground. The text color of the button when the mouse pointer is over it or when it is clicked. Okay, I'll show you examples, don't worry. So general options are there, like setting its width and height, the text, command. Command is more important because whenever you'll create a button, obviously you want to respond to the click of that button. Only creating button is not sufficient. No? After creating button, you want that people should click on that button and some reaction should happen. So this command is important. Then the background color, foreground color, the font of the button. Okay. Then like if you want the button should be initially disabled, you can change. And the spacing between one button and another button. That is called the spacing. So that by pad X, pad Y. And when the button is clicked, so that time if you want to give some different background color and different foreground, you can use active background, active foreground. Okay, I'll take a very simple example. You'll come to know. Okay, right? You can see the output and from that you can decide how it is working. Okay, so first thing what I've done is I've created main window tk.tk, T capital. The object of class tk will create this main window. The main window is created. Then you have set the title of the main window, that button demo. Then you have set the geometry, that is 300 by 200, 300 by 200. Okay. Then I've written one function. Okay, guys. And that function will get called whenever I click on the button. So whenever I click on the button, this function should get called. And what action that function is performing? Only showing one dialog. It just displays one dialog box. One dialog box will come like this. And in that dialog, there's just one OK button and one message will be there. That button, blue button clicked. Getting that message. And to the title, there will be hello. Okay, so hello will be the title and the message will be blue button clicked and a OK button and cross. Such a ready-made dialog come. That ready-made dialogues are called as message boxes. So message boxes are there in one more sub package of Tkinter library. Tkinter library is the main package. In that there is one sub package. To that sub package, I've given an alias name as MB, and then I'm using mb.showinfo. Showinfo is the function in that message box package. Or you can say it is a module It's a separate module within your Tkinter library. And within that module, there is one function called show info. This is the title and this is the message. A ready-made dialog will come. Title to that dialog is hello. The message in that dialog is blue button clicked and one OK button. Okay. If you want, I'll show you that dialog as well. See, like this. A ready-made dialog. Title is hello. Then inside that, there is a message coming. Blue button clicked. One OK button. And one icon is there for information. Okay. But this will come when the function is called. And when the function is called, when you click on the button. But how your application knows that when on the click of this function is called. So you're giving that function name to the command option of that button. Okay. So see here, I have defined the function. Then I'm creating first button. Okay. First button. The parent of that button is root. Text on that is red. Then background and foreground color. Foreground is white. Background is red. And what is written on that button? Red. And width is 10 character width. Approximate 10 character width it will take. Okay? One button I have created. Second button is created. Button 2. Its text is green. Its background is green. Foreground is white. Then width is 10 characters. 10 character width and 5 line height. Means this height is 5. Means not 5 pixels. It is in 5 characters. Means how much size one line take. So this way 5 lines it will take. And that depends on the font also. Like if the font is changed, but height is 5 only. So it will take 5 lines according to that font. Okay. So 5 lines height and 10 character width. And I've set the background, active background to yellow. Means whenever I click on this button, the background color will become yellow. Okay. And the third button I have created with the text blue, background color blue, foreground white. Then I've set the boundary pad x, pad y as 1010 and the command is given. See, command equal to fun. Fun is the name of the function. Please remember now fun is not going to get called. You are just storing the reference of the function because function is also object in Python. So reference of the function is given to command. So whenever you will click on that button, this fun function will get called. Is it getting called implicitly? Yes. Therefore, such functions are called as callback functions. Callback functions means functions which are getting called implicitly. You don't have to call them explicitly. It gets called implicitly. And it gets called again and again. Okay, so as many times I click on the button, that many times the call to fun is given and the fun gets executed. Okay, so I have not set command for the other two. So whenever I click on the other two button, no reaction is happening only for this because I have given command equal to fun only for this button. Okay, and then only creating button and putting it into the parent window is not sufficient. I already told you. You have to set its geometry manager. So I'm setting the geometry manager of all three as pack. Pack algorithm, I hope you know it. It occupies the space which is available. So tell me, here I have written side equal to tx left, tk left. So it will stick itself to left side. Okay? Then tk top. So this is stick to the top side. This is tk bottom. So it is stick to the bottom side accordingly. And then you put your main window in the main loop. Once you put in the main loop, is it making the window visible? When you run, the window is visible. It is waiting for you to do interaction. Okay? The window is displayed and it is waiting for you to do the interaction. And when you click on this button, the click event occur and it will give call to fun. And whatever code is written in that fun will get executed. Okay? See here, when I click on this blue button, fun gets called, and in fun, we are just displaying that message. Now, for other buttons also you can do, I've just given an example. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll quickly show you this example. And then you can try doing a lot of combinations. Tkinter demo file. Some initial part I'll copy, like this part. Okay, like setting the title and the geometry. Title I'll give button demo. Okay, so I'm giving button demo. Okay, so parent window is created. This is the parent window. Parent window is always the object of class TK, which is present in that. So I created parent window. The reference of parent window is in root. Then parent window's title set, geometry is set, that is width and height. Okay. Now one function I want inside which I'm just going to display a message. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll import that module also. So that module, that is message box, is a module present in this main Tkinter library. Okay, so as, and I'm giving some another name to it as MB. I'll define one function, def fun. And inside that, I'll just write mb dot show info, title, whatever you want to give, like I'm giving title hello, and message what I'm giving, like blue button clicked. Okay. Now we will create button widgets one by one. So first button widget I'll create tk dot button. The parent window is root. Then the text suppose you give red. Then foreground color, background color. Suppose background I'm giving red only, and foreground color I'm giving white. Okay. Okay. Anything else for that? Width I'll give. Suppose I'm giving width. Please understand width is in terms of character. Character width it will take. Button 2 we will create. tk dot button. It is also added in the parent. So parent reference you have to give whenever you create a child window. These are all child widgets. So child widgets are to be put into the parent widget. So you have to give the reference of parent. Okay. Then text. Suppose I'm giving text as blue. Then foreground, background color. Suppose background color I'm giving blue. Foreground color white. Okay. Then width I'll set. Suppose width I'm setting as 10. Height as 5. Then I'm going to set the active background. Suppose active background I'm making yellow. That's all. One more button I'll create. tk dot button root text. Text I'll give green, and the same background color I'll make background color equal to green. Foreground color is white. Okay. Width here also I'll give 10. I'll not give height, but command I'll give. Command is fun. Fun. So whenever I click on this third button, it will give call to fun. Now buttons created, but without only creating button and adding it in the root window won't do. If you run your application, these child windows won't be visible, guys. It is visible only when you set. Okay, it is visible only when you set its geometry. So I'm using pack. Side I'm giving as tk dot left, then b2 pack only side tk dot top, suppose I'm giving, then b3 dot pack side tk dot bottom. If you want to give that pad spacing and all, which is done here, spacing for the third button, so you can give that spacing if you want. It's up to you. Okay? Like if you want to give that padding, pad X 10, pad Y 10, your choice. And now put your application in main window. Sorry, in the main loop. So root dot main loop. Without putting the application in main loop, it is not going to keep your window running on the desktop. If you want that application should be running on the desktop, you have to put it in main loop. And internally, the main loop is actually doing work of listening to the event. It is listening to user interaction. And the moment user does the interaction, it detects that event and then checks whether there is a code for that event. If there is, it will execute that code as a reaction. So for every event, there has to be some reaction. Okay, we will run this application. Python. Fine. Can you see? This way, 5 buttons are created. Okay. Now, when you give pad X, pad Y here, so we think as if for button, when you give pad X, pad Y, no? So this is the inner space. This space it is. This is that space which it has left. When you give it to button, and when you give to geometry manager, then this is the spacing outside. Okay. So please don't make confusion between that because maybe while explaining, I told you pad X, pad Y, the space between two buttons and all. So that will be applicable when you give that pad X, pad Y to the geometry manager. Here, which you give na pad X, pad Y, that is the internal spacing. How much space inside it is to leave. Okay. So hope it is clear. Blue button width is 10 characters, height is 5 line. Width 10 characters and height is 5 line. Now, can you see when I click on the button, is it making its background color yellow? Why? Because we have given active background yellow. So active when you press the button. So when you press the button has become active, therefore it is showing yellow color. Now here, when you click on it, it will give call to fun because we have given command equal to fun. Fun is not getting called now. You have just given the reference. Only the reference of your function is assigned here. So function will be called only when you will click on that button. So see here, the moment I click on it, fun gets called and inside fun, you have called that show info. So is that show info displaying that information? Blue button clicked, OK button, title hello. So again, if I click, it will again give call to fun. That is the speciality. It is called as callback. Callback functions means functions which are going to get called implicitly. We don't call them explicitly. And they are getting called again and again, as many times the event occur. Again, if I click, again it will call. Okay? Later, what we'll do is after completing the widgets, we will take some programs using that widgets. Okay, so using that widgets, we will create some applications. Okay, so is the basic idea you have got, right? Can you give
Yes,
me
sir.
the basic you
Yes.
got? Then
No,
afterwards,
actually, yeah, the pad X pad 10 for a green button you are giving, na, from the bottom it will take, right? No.
no, but this pad X pad Y is the internal spacing of that button. It is not going to take the outer. That's what maybe while explaining I did that mistake. Here pad X, pad Y is the internal spacing of that button. See, I'll tell you. When we'll run that application, you'll come to know. Okay? See, that spacing is this one, internal spacing.
So internal
Okay.
spacing means in the font and the button.
Between the text and that boundary. But if you give the same pad X, pad Y here, that is third button. Okay. Okay. So that will be the spacing around, outside it will be, between one widget and another widget. See, can you see? Now here it is taking 10 pixel Y and 10 pixel X. This spacing and this spacing.
So
Getting it?
between the button, this much space means we need to give in the pack.
Huh. To the
Oh,
manager you need to give. And internal spacing if you want, then you have to give here.
okay.
Okay. So like if I make it to a 2020, accordingly you see. Can you see? Now the internal spacing is increased 10 pixel, 10 pixel, 10 pixel, 10 pixel. That green is the text. So about 10 pixel, below 10 pixel, this side 10 pixel, this side 10. Therefore, the button size is increased now because I have given 2020. So when you give pad X, pad Y to the widgets, it is the internal spacing. And when you give to pack, it is the spacing outside. Correct? If you want, you can stretch and see this green button. Okay. You can stretch it. That is by writing fill equal to tk dot x. So it will expand in x direction. So when it expands in x direction, here you will see expands in x direction. So here you can see this is the spacing, the outer spacing, that is 10x, 10y. Here if you would have not given, then this button you'll get stick here. Now why you are not seeing this? Because that space is kept for this red button. The order important. First, if I would have added green button and then red, so you will see this whole stretch here. Okay? So that is everything about the manager, how you are using that layer, that geometry manager. Okay. Later we will write some programs using button. First, what we'll do, we will just cover with the widgets. So one more widget will take the next widget, that is check button, a UI component. It's a user interface element. Okay. So another one is check button. Check button, it shows one small square, and besides that, there will be some label. Okay, whatever label you give. Label means text. Okay. So that text will be there, and one small square is there. And whenever you click on it, it shows its state by the tick mark. And again, when I click on it, it removes that tick mark. It just keeps toggling. Okay. As many times you click, it just keeps toggling that state. Tick mark comes. Again, if you click, the tick mark will go. Okay. So those are called as check buttons. Normally, check buttons are used to accept from the user yes or no choice. Yes or no. Accept or reject. True or false. Only that type of choice you want to accept. Then we use checkboxes. Okay. So in short, you can say like you want to provide the list of choices from which user can select one or all. You're providing the list of choices. Okay. And from this, user is allowed to select any, like no selection, one selection, two selections, all selections. You can select zero elements, one element, two element, all element. Only how to indicate that it is selected, the check mark will come. And if check mark is not there, we indicate it is deselected. Okay? And here also on the click, if you want to respond to that click by some code, then command is there. Command equal to and give the name of your function. Give the reference of that function. So whenever you click on it, that function will get called. And the standard things are there as it is, like foreground color, background color. Okay. Then a command you'll give, then the text, then the font. All these are as usual. Only some speciality, some extra thing for this check button is that what should be the value for selected and what should be the value for deselected. The two values you can decide. It's up to you. Like you want when it is ticked, the value should be yes. And when it is unticked, value should be no. Up to you. Like you want when it is ticked, it should be one. When it is unticked, it should be zero. Getting? Or if it is ticked, you want true. If it is unticked, you want false. So what value you want when it is ticked and what value you want when it is unticked. That two things you have to give. Getting? As a option. There are two options in which you have to tell the tick value and the untick value, the checked value and the unchecked value. It is not hard and fast rule that the checked value and the unchecked value has to be a number. It can be a string also, it can be a number. But the question is how you will come to know what is the current value of the checkbox, whether it is ticked or whether it is unticked. So there is one mechanism given. You have to create a variable. And now that variable are of fixed classes like int var if you're storing integer value. Then we have string var if the value is of type string. These are the classes created by Tkinter library only. Yeah? So int var will store an integer value. String var will store string value. These are the classes given in the Tkinter library. So you have to create a variable of this first. Okay, whatever. V equal to int var. It's a class. You have to create an object. Round bracket object created. In Python, you don't have to write new. Only class name round bracket. Object created, constructor call, you got the reference. This object you'll pass to value of checkbox. Okay? So when you'll create a checkbox, give this reference. And now anytime when you click on the checkbox, the checked value will get stored here. And when you untick it, so whatever is for unchecked, that value will get stored here. How the communication is. So whatever the checked value or unchecked value is, that will get saved here. And then what has come in it, you can check by v.get. Get is the method. So that get will return you what is there in it. So if in that checked value is there, so you know the checkbox is checked. If in that there is an unchecked value, the checkbox is unchecked. Getting? So I'll tell you how they communicate. Okay. And it's not necessary like your checkbox values should be integer only. You can give strings also. You can give booleans also. Okay. First of all, check button is for what? Providing a list of choices from which user can select zero or more. Means no choice selected, all choices selected, up to you. Okay, so check button widget in Tkinter is used to create a checkbox that allows the user to select or deselect an option. There are many options. Okay, like they give you a choice of selecting. You can see this generally on Swiggy or Zomato when you place an order. So after placing order, they give you some add-on options. Like you have purchased a burger or you have purchased, for example, garlic bread. So they gave you an option that whether you want a dip also or something else. You want some herbs, you want extra cheese. So they give you a list of check boxes, and from that you can select it. You don't want your choice. If you want, you can select from them. Okay. So it provides you with a list of options from which you can select zero or all choices. Selected, a tick mark comes. Not selected, it is blank. One square is there, and besides that, there is a label. Okay. So create a checkbox that allow the user to select or deselect an option. It is commonly used when multiple options can be selected simultaneously. Many options are there, but it's not hard and fast rule that you have to select only one option from that all option. If you want only exact one option from all option, then go for radio button, not check button. Radio button shows circle like this. And in that, you're not allowed to select multiple, any one. Whichever you select, a dark circle is there. If you select someone else, this will go. So it is a group in which only one is selected. That is the radio. Here, you can select what? Zero or all options. And whichever you have select, there will be a tick mark inside it. Okay? See. To create a check button, the class of that widget is check button. This is a class present in the tick library. So create an object of check button. Pass parent, which is mandatory. If you don't pass parent, it will not get added in some another parent window because they are child window. You cannot create them directly. You have to add them in some main container. And who is the main container? Your main window. So pass the reference of your main window and then the options. The standard options are there like text, then foreground, then background. Okay. But there are some special, like one on the click of it, you want to perform some code. So command is there. Then on the click, what should be the value? On untick, what should be the value? And whenever you click or unclick, the current value should get saved somewhere. So that variable you have to give. Okay? See, I told you value, but it is variable, not value. It is variable. See, to text, whatever you give to the text will be displayed in that checkbox. Like text equal to red. So checkbox will come, and besides that, what will be written? Red. Okay? Then variable. To this, you have to give that int var, string var, variable. Just now I told, na, there are some classes called string var in which string can be stored, int var inside which integer can be stored. So you have to create a variable of that and give the reference of that variable here. Okay. Now, once you give the reference of that variable here, afterwards, whenever you tick, the on value will get saved in that variable. And when you untick it, off value will get saved over there. And what is on value and off value, you decide. Okay. So if you want on value is 10 and off value is 20, it's up to you. Totally what on value and what off value. Your choice. Okay. Suppose like on value you want double quote yes and off value you want double quote no. Then create string var and give the reference here. Okay. And on the click of it, you want some code to get executed. Then give the reference of your function to command. Command equal to and the name of your function. Okay. So example I'll tell you. See, it will be more clear to you. Like I have created one variable of int var. These are the classes provided. tk dot var. Okay. It's like wrapper classes in Java. So var equal to tk dot var. I have created this variable I created. Now I'm creating checkbox. that is check button, tk dot check button. Okay. So parent I'm giving whatever that parent is, root. Then text also I'm giving. Suppose text equal to red. Okay. Then variable I'm assigning. Variable. This variable is the place from where the handshake will take place. It is like when you click anything, the on value will get saved over there. When you unclick any checkbox, the off value will get saved. And then what has come in it, programmer will check what has come in it, and on that, programmer will decide. So variable equal to where I'll give. And then on value, I'm giving 10. And off value, I'm giving 20. Suppose. Okay? On value 10, off value 20. Done. So this variable we have, which is of type int var, this variable of type int var, button created, variable equal to reference of this, and on value off value decided. Now whenever that checkbox, whichever checkbox is created, there is a label red. The moment I click on it and the tick mark come, the moment I click on it and the tick mark come, on value 10 will get saved in this variable. Means whatever is on value, that value is saved in this variable. In this variable only, why? Because we have set na variable equal to where. So this on value will be copied in this variable. And then you can check what has come in this variable by writing where.get. Where.get, when I write, it will return this. So if 10 has come, means you have ticked on it. Now suppose again I tick on it, the check mark goes. Again, if I click on it, the check mark will go. The moment check mark go, off value, what is this? 20. That will be saved here. Okay. So if I write where.get and where.get returns 20, means the check mark is gone. That way you can decide whether it is ticked or unticked. Getting? So it's not like only number. It can be string also. So suppose you have given on value equal to double quote yes, off value equal to double quote no, and where equal to where, but where you have created of type string where, of type string where. So whenever I click on it, check mark come, yes string will get copied in that variable. When I untick it, means I remove it, off value. What is off value? No. No will get copied in that variable. So what has come in that variable, you can check. Getting? By using its get method. Okay, I'll show you. See. So what I'm doing is I'm creating one application, very simple application. I'll just show you the output of the application first. Then we will design that application. Very simple application. First, I'm showing one title like this. Welcome to Tkinter. This is just a label. Okay. This is a main label. Welcome to Tkinter. And then three checkboxes I'm adding. One is bold, one is italic, one is underline. Okay. Bold, italic, underline. Three checkboxes. I can select all three. I can select any one of it. I can select two from them. I can deselect all. It's up to you. But whatever you tick, based on that, the style should be applied to this font. Like if I do bold, it should be bold. Italic and bold, both are there. So bold also and italic also, like slant. Underline, underline should come. If I remove both and keep underline, only underline will be there, but bold is gone, italic is gone, depending on the combination. Okay. So I hope the UI is clear so that we can check how it is created. See. So first part is you have created the main window. Main window is the object of TK. Root, set its title, geometry. Three variables have created for that three checkboxes. These variables are only the variable by which we come to know that what is the current state of your checkbox. What is the current state of the checkbox, whether it is ticked or whether it is unticked. So if it is ticked, its on value is copied in this variable. If it is unticked, the off value is copied in this variable. Understanding, guys? Okay. So for three checkbox, I've created three variables. All are int var. Currently, I'm dealing with int var. So int var, three variables created. Okay. Then we are writing one function called update style. Def update style. Now, what this function is doing, it is checking what value is there in this three variable. Okay. So depending on what value is there in this variable, three variables, okay, we are deciding the weight. Weight means whether to make it bold or normal. Slant, whether to make it italic or normal. And underline, whether to make it underline or not underline. Okay. So first what we are doing in this function, checking what value is there in this bold var. So in that bold var, if the value is 1, it will store string bold in weight. Otherwise, it will store string normal in weight. This is like a ternary operator of C. You can make use of Python if else that way also. Actually, it is a Python if else, but what it does is it acts like a ternary. If boldvar.get, now if boldvar.get returns 1, so it is true, then string bold will get copied in weight. Otherwise, string normal will get copied in it. So what will get copied in weight? Either bold or either normal, depending on what value is there in that bold var. So if your checkbox is ticked, then when we write boldvar.get, what it will return? 1. 1 is true, therefore bold string gets copied. But if that checkbox is unticked, so unticked means off value. Off value, suppose I've set 0. So get will return 0 and 0 is false. So it will store normal over here. Getting? Same way for second variable. Suppose in that second variable, the value is 1. Means second checkbox is ticked. So I'm copying string italic in slant. Otherwise, I'm copying Roman. Roman means normal, not tilted. Getting? And third variable value I'm checking. Whether third variable value is 1 means the third one is ticked. So third one is ticked. So I'm storing 1 in underline. Otherwise, I'm storing 0 in underline. Now, all these values you have to pass to font object. You create an object of class font. But class font is present in this submodule, or you can say it's a module within your main library. Tkinter.font. Just now we did it for message box. Same way here. Tkinter.font and create an alias for that as F. And then F dot font class. There is a class font in that module. We are creating an object, different parameters. So family I'm giving Arial, means the name of the font is Arial. Size of the font is 16. And these three things, weight, slant, underline. So what will be the value of weight? Whatever is in this variable. So if it is bold, weight is bold. If it is normal, weight is normal. Slant. If it is italic, slant will be italic. If it is Roman, it will be normal. Underline. If it is 1, underline is 1. If it is 0, underline is 0. So all these values are passed to font object. And now set the font of that label, which we have created at the top. Getting this one, this label. Welcome to Tkinter. This is the label. So I'm going to change the font of that label. So yesterday only I told you, if you want to change the parameter of any widget later, then you have to call Okay, you have to call what? The config method of that widget. The widget is lbl dot config and set which parameter? Font equal to, and this font you give. So whatever is set in it, font is Arial, size is 16. Weight depends. Weight equal to can be bold also or normal also. Slant can be italic also or Roman also. Underline can be 1 also or 0 also, depending on the state of your checkbox. If your checkbox is ticked, on value will come. On value come, then bold. If it is unticked, then off value will come. So off value, it will go to else part. Okay, now you create the widgets. First, you have created a label widget. Then you have created 3 checkbox widget. Okay, but please remember to this checkbox widget, parent is given, text is also given. And this is important. Give that variable because unless you give the variable, the on value and the off value will not get copied in it. Okay, so whatever that on value and off value is, that should get saved na, in this. So you have to give the variable. Now you say you didn't give on value, off value. It will take default 1 and 0. When you don't give on value, off value, the default on value is 1, off value is 0. And command equal to name of the function. So for all three, I'm calling the same function. Okay. So whenever I click on any of the checkbox, on any checkbox you click, it will give call to command, give call to update style. For all three, the handler is same. I've written a common function. So on whichever checkbox you click, it will give call to the same function. But remember, on value, off value, I have been given. So it will take default. On value is 1, off value is 0. So what will get saved in this variable? Bold where? Either on value or either off value. Depend on the state. If you have ticked, on value will get copied in this variable. If it is unticked, off value is copied in this variable. Same is for second. Okay, 3 checkboxes created. We are adding it in the main window. I'm using pack. Side is not given. Will it take by default top? Will it place all this checkbox stick to the top? Okay. And as they stick to the top, they are getting placed one below another. Like shelf, when you keep books one above another, same way. So first it will place label, then below that another checkbox, below that another checkbox, below that another checkbox. Okay. And then you're putting it in a main loop. So remember, whenever applications start, initially they all are unticked. Okay. So two are unticked, and now I click on the first one. The moment I click on the first one, on value will get copied in this variable. What is on value? 1 will get copied in this variable. Okay, only copying that, or will it give call to this function? It will give call to this function. And within that function, what you are checking, what value is there in this 3 variable. Based on that, I'm creating that weight, slant, underline. All that 3 things I take, I create a font and I change the font of this widget. From inside only, I'm changing the font of this widget. So these two are not ticked. So it will take the else value, that is Roman, and underline 0. So this is not slanted, not underlined, but bold is tick. Therefore, it takes this as bold. Okay. So depending on combinations, like first is also tick and the third is also tick. So it will be bold also, underline also. If all three are tick, so it will be bold also, italic also, and underline also. Okay. So combinations. But please remember, whenever you click on that checkbox, the current state, if it is ticked, on value, if it is unticked, off value, will get copied in this variable. And can you check what is come in that variable in that function? Yes, we have done it now using get. See, using get, we are checking what has come in that variable. And when the value will come in it, whenever you click on that respective checkbox, ticked, On value will come. Unticked, off value will come. And how you get that value? By get method. Okay. So I'll show you this demonstration. It will be more clear to you. Six I'll give. Again, few things I'll copy from here. Right? Now we don't need message box. We need font. So I'm taking font and I'm giving ls name to it as F. Okay. So main window created. Done. Main window is created. Then what I'm doing is I'm giving title, check button, demo, then the geometry. Function we have to write, but suppose first I create widgets, all the widgets I'll create. Like first I'll create label. Okay, tk dot label. Parent is root. Okay, parent is root. No, before creating that also, I'll create that three variables. Okay, so suppose checkbox one is there, or checkbox bold, a simple bold where I'll give, which will be of type int where. Okay, then italic where I'll give tk dot int where. Same int where there is string where also. If you want to store string values, so you have to give on value equal to some string, off value equal to some string. Okay, and bold is done, italic is done, underline where I'll take int where. Okay, three variables. First we'll create widgets. Title I'm going to give welcome to Tkinter. Then you can give font of it. Font this way also directly you can give by a tuple, like I'm giving Arial, comma, some size. Okay, that's all. Nothing more. Then I'll create checkboxes. So checkbox bold I'll create tk dot label. Parent is root. Then the text we will give bold. Then it's variable, very important. Variable. Why it is not coming? I created label. We have to create check button. That's why I thought like why it is not giving that parameters. Okay, the parameter is variable. So variable is bold variable. Remember what will happen whenever you tick on this checkbox, the on value of this checkbox will be copied, or the off value of this checkbox will be copied in this variable. Okay. Now you haven't set on value, off value. So by default, on value is 1, off value is 0. And command, I'll give some function. Okay, like I'll give function update style. Now, as we have not defined that function, it is giving error at this moment. I'll create one more checkbox, one more checkbox. Next, I'll take it as bold, italic, and I'll take another as underline. Okay, I'll change their styles. Bold, italic, underline. And their variables are different. Here, it will be italic where, and here it will be underline where. But command for all three, same. Okay. Now I'll put all these four I'll set their placement. All four are, they have gone in your main window, but the placement is not done yet. Okay. So first lbl dot pack, only pad y I'll give. So from the top, it will leave some position. Okay. Then checkbox bold dot pack, checkbox italic dot pack, checkbox underline dot pack. So as it is a pack method and you have not given side, so by default it will stick to top. Now from top 50 pixel it will leave and then the label. Immediately below that checkbox, immediately below that italic, immediately below that underline. One below another it will come because it's a pack algorithm. Side not given. So it will stick itself to the top. Okay? And we will put main application in the loop. Now this function we have not defined yet, right? We will define it. But when we will define that, def update style, that error gone. For time being, I'm keeping it pass, empty. Okay? And just see the output, the design you can check. Okay? Can you see the design? As that padY is given 50, it is occupying that much space. And then one below another. Three checkboxes. And this one. Now, whenever I click on this, as it is ticked, remember, the moment I click, this function is called. That function is called. But whenever you click on it, its on value will get copied in its variable. What is the variable? Bold var. And if I untick it, off value will get copied in that variable. So that way the communication happens. Again, same. When I click on italic, as it is ticked, its on value is copied in this variable. And if I remove that tick, its off value is copied there. Now, on value, off value, when you don't give, it is by default 0, 1. You can give your on value, off value of your choice. Getting? If you mention on value 10, off value 20. So remember, the moment I tick on it, it is ticked, on value is 10, 10 will get copied here. And if I remove it, its off value is 15, 15 will get copied in that. If you have given on value, off value, when you don't give it, it is by default 0. Okay. Now the main thing is handling this update. Okay. So what we'll do is inside this update, we will check what is the value in this variable. If in this variable there is 1, make sure that checkbox is ticked. If it is 0, means that checkbox is unticked. So we will check it like this and we will store appropriate value weight equal to, I told you, we have to store bold or normal, right? See, when it will store bold, see, if bold var dot get is 1, if you want double equal to 1, write like this. If you don't write, then also it is treating it as what? See, bold var dot get, if it is 1, means automatic it is true, right? And the syntax is little bit. See, it will take this bold in the if part. If bold var dot get true, it will store bold in weight. Otherwise, it will store normal in that weight. Okay? Then about italic. We have to store italic, italic meaning slant, whether you want it as slant or no. So instead of weight, I'll call it as slant. So in that slant variable, store italic if italic var dot get is 1. Else store Roman. Roman meaning not slant. And last about underline, one variable. In that I'll store one if underline variable dot get. In short, you can store the value only, not get. This way also you can write underline dot get, underline where dot get instead of checking if else. Yes or no? Because anyway, underline where dot get will return you one or zero. So that one only will come here or zero will come here. Can I directly write like this instead of checking if else? And if you want, you can do like this. One if underline dot get is true, else zero. Now, after collecting this, so what will come in weight? Either bold will come or normal. What will come in slant? Either italic or Roman. What will come in underline? Either 1 or 0. So depending on that values, we'll create a font and we'll change the font of this label by config. Config is used to set the option of any widget after the widget is created. After the widget is created. These are the options you have set at the time of creating the widget. But once the widget is created and later if you want to modify their options, then you have to use config. Okay, so first I'll create a font. Okay, I'll call it as my font equal to f.font, pass all the things. Okay, first you give family. Family, I'll use Arial only, right? Then size, I'll keep the same size. In the main you have given 16, so here also keep 16. Okay, then what you have to pass? Weight as weight only. Remember, don't confuse with left side weight and right side. Left side weight is the key of that font constructor. You're creating an object of class font. So this is the key. And this RHS weight is this your variable. So if your variable contains bold, so what will be given to this weight key? Bold. If it is normal, normal will be given. Same way about slant, and then about underline. Okay, so don't confuse with LHS weight and RHS weight. RHS weight is this variable. So whatever value is there in that variable will be given to this key. These are the keys to that constructor. And now set this font by writing lbl.config. What you're setting font and who is the new font? My font. Okay, so is it going to run this 5-line code as many times you click on that button, any of the check button? So anytime you click on the check button, it is giving call to this function. It is a callback function. You're not calling it explicitly. Understanding, guys? It is getting called implicitly. You have just given the reference of the function. So as many times you click on any of the checkbox, it will give call to this function. And what is done in that function? We are checking the state, what value is there in these three variables. In this three variable, what value is there that you are checking? So if in this variable there is value 1, I'm storing bold, otherwise normal. Again, in this variable, if there is value 1, I'm storing italic, otherwise Roman. Again, in this variable, if there is value 1, I'm storing 1, otherwise 0. Then taking all this, I create one font and then I set that font for the label. Okay? See here, we will execute it. See, the moment I click, is it becoming bold? Then when I click italic, is it becoming slant? Underline, is it becoming underline? Now remove some, like if you remove italic and keep bold and underline, see, it has become Roman, but still it is bold, it is underline. If I remove bold, so in general, what it is doing in that function, whenever you click on any of the checkbox, this function is called. And a command equal to name of the function. It gives call to the function. And what does function do? It checks the state of all three. Based on the state of all three, it is creating a font and setting the font of that label. See, lbl.config font equal to my font. But my font is created on the basis of these three values. And the three values depend on what is there in these three variables. And what is there in that three variable depend on tick or untick. So always remember, when you tick, on value is copied. When you untick, off value is copied. You can tally also. If you want, you can give on value, off value. Getting, guys? You can print and see what is on value, what is off value. Okay. So by default, on value, off value is 0, 1. If you want, you can give strings as well. If you want string, then you have to create this. Instead of int var, you have to create string var. See, dot string. Is there string var? See, there is a boolean var also. Okay, right? So I hope you understood this. Is it? Just give me quick confirmation. The whole
Yes, sir.
communication is with the help of that variable. What these three variables, these variables act as a communication. So whenever I tick, the on value gets copied in it. When I untick, the off value get copied. Now in this case, I didn't give on value, off value. So what is the default on value, off value? 0 and 1. So when it is ticked, on value is 1. 1 get copied here. When I remove the tick mark, off value is copied. Off value is 0. You can try doing it, giving some another off value, on value. Like if you want on value is yes and off value is no, give that. Then create these variables as a string var. Okay, instead of int var, create string var. Okay. Then what we'll do, we'll take one more widget, entry
Okay,
widget.
sir. Yes, sir. We can take on.
Entry widget. Entry widget is used to accept single line editable text. Entry widget, it will just show you a rectangle, okay, and the cursor will be blinking inside it, that vertical line, and it allows you to type anything in it. Only single line editable text. If you want multi-line editable, there is another widget. Okay, so entry widget is used to accept. It is like an input widget. It is used to accept some input from the user. Okay, so it will show you one rectangle. Inside, the cursor will be blinking, and as you start typing, the text will be visible. As you go on typing, RAM, again cursor will be blinking. You can again delete it. Means, in short, it is used to accept single line editable text. Okay. So what all parameters are there? May options are there? We will learn. Okay, and then we will take some example on it. See, the entry widget in Tkinter is used to accept single line text input. Like when you want to accept name or an email or a password, that time use this. From the user, such as name, password, email, or any search text, like please enter the text which you want to search, and then you click on the search button. So it will take that search text and then search and give you accordingly the result. Okay, so search text is there, email address, password, username, all such things when you want to accept, use this entry widget. Now, how to create an entry widget? create an object of class entry. Entry is a class, E capital. And this entry class is there in your tick library. And standard things that you have to pass parent reference because these all are child widget. Please remember. And child widgets cannot be placed directly. You have to place them in some main parent window. Parent window will act like a container. And who is the container? Your main window. So within that you have to add. So whenever you create this widget, you have to tell that in which parent to add. And then the options. Here also the standard options are there. The font color, the background color, then the font, if you want to change the font of it, many are there. And mainly here, what is typed in it, that if you want, how to get that. Because, okay, you will create an entry widget and all. Like this is a widget for username. This is a widget for password. And then there is a button for login. Okay. So whenever I click on that login button, when I click on the login button, the command equal to will come into action. Command equal to some function. So it will give call to that function. But inside that function, if I want what is typed in username, I want that what is typed in that password. So that if I get that value, I can take further actions. No? So to take that further actions, I need these values inside that function. So how to retrieve it? I'll tell you. Okay? See ya. So first is width of the widget. Same like button, today I gave width 10. So it didn't took 10 pixel, it is 10 characters. And character, how it calculates? The widest character in that font. So in that font, if the widest is W, so how much W takes multiplied by 10? So it is not guarantee like width equal to 10 if you give. It will show exactly 10. It may show some more also. Getting? Because some characters may take less space also. It is calculating on the widest character, whichever is the widest multiplied by. Okay? So width specifies the width of the entry box. It is calculated in character. Font, font of your entry widget. You can create a tuple and in that you can give the name of the font, then the size of the font, then foreground color, which is the text color, the background color, that rectangle which gets created, its background. Then suppose you want the text what you're typing to be masked. Masked means hidden. Whatever you're typing in it, it should not be visible. It should be masked. Like though I'm typing NET to NET, it is showing hash only, especially when you're typing passwords and all. So that time, whatever you type, it should be masked. Then use this show. And whatever character you give to show, that will be seen over there. So hides entered characters used for passwords. So if I give show equal to double quote hash, then what will happen? Whatever you type, it will show hash. So your characters, what you are typing, are getting hidden. Instead, it is showing the character which you have given to this show. And then justify is also there, like to which side that that cursor is there. So you want that cursor should be blinking in between. And then as you type, it is moved equal in both direction. You want that character to be at the right side, whether at the left side. That vertical line, which indicates where the typing is going on. Yes or no? See, whenever the typing is going on, is this vertical line blinking? And as I go on typing, is it moving ahead? So that vertical line initially where it should be. By default, it is at left. If you want it at right, if you want at the center. If it is center, so whatever you type, it is spread equal in both direction. Okay, so I'll show you that too. So that alignments are there, alignment like left, center, right, and the methods. So, which I told you already, like if you want what is typed in that text box. What is typed in the text box I want? Use get. Get returns the text entered by the user. If you want to insert some text in it, use insert method. Insert position in the text. So at that position, this text will get inserted. So whoever is at that position will get shifted ahead. And if you want to delete some text from your text entry widget, give start and end. End is exclusive. So from start till end, whatever text comes, it will be deleted. Deletes text from the entry widget. Okay. Then what we'll do is we'll create an example of this in the next session. One simple login window I'll create. We'll accept a username and the password. And then if the username password matches, okay, we'll accept a username password and we will keep some username net to net password as knowledge. If it matches, then give a message box as login successful. Otherwise, give message login fail. ठीक है? So we'll create such application in the next lecture.